I would like to invite you, or rather, I would like to thank you for coming to our press conference, the Movement for Democratic Change. My name is KHUPE-LED. I'm the deputy spokesperson for the party. With me today here, I am Dr. KHUPE, who we all know, the acting president of the party. I have in my immediate right the national chairperson, Honorable Morgan Bobich. On the right of the president, I am Honorable Suli, the deputy national chairperson. And on his right, I am the former secretary general, Honorable THOKOZANI. Madam President is going to give us a short statement. Thereafter, the Secretary General will give us a statement, and then we should be able to take your questions. Thank you so much, Madam President. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, members of the media. Good afternoon, our members. First of all, I would like to say that I would like to thank you very much for coming to this very important press briefing. This is our first meeting as a standing committee after the Supreme Court ruling, which took us back to the 14th of February after the demise of our great president, Dr. Morgan Richard Tsvangirai. May his soul rest in eternal peace. As the MDC-T, we were founded on the foundation of constitutionalism. We are founded on the foundation of democracy. We are founded on the foundation of non-discrimination. We are founded on the foundation of non-violence. And we met here today as a leadership to say, let us reflect back on what happened and let us correct our mistakes, because in life, it is important that when we make a mistake, you must admit you have made a mistake, but use those mistakes as a stepping stone to success. As you can see, we are gathered here today. These are the founding members of the MDC-T. And I would also like to allude to the fact that most of the members we are seeing here are the real founders from ZCTU. I'm one of those people, together with Honorable Gifty Manikiri and Honorable Pauline Bariwa, who were tasked by the Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Unions to go and form a political party, together with Gibson Sander, together with Isaac Matongo, together with our late President Morgan Richard Tsvangirai, together with Nicholas Mzengerere, together with Remas Mapuas. But the 5 have already departed, and the 3 are sitting here today in front of us. We have got the national chairman, who is a former member of the Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Unions in Matebele North. We have got the secretary general. He was the legal research officer at ZCTU. We have got Nico Bebe, the organizing secretary, was a member of the Zimbabwe Amalgamated Railways Union in Bulawayo. We have got Honorable Bariwa, she was the chairperson of the Women's Advisory Council of ZCTU, and I was the secretary of the ZCTU Women's Advisory Council. We've got Gifty Manikiri, was the president of PTC. So the people you are seeing here today are the founder members of the movement. But unfortunately, so many things happened before, but we are here today to correct those mistakes. And I would like to say, the MDC-T, is here today. We are standing. We are now up, on our toes, up on our feet. We are standing and we are raring to go. We want to make sure that Zimbabweans have a better life. Our desire as the opposition is to make sure that we are an opposition which is going to build. We are an opposition which is going to make sure that Zimbabweans have a better life. We want to make sure that we become a government in waiting for real. We want the people of Zimbabwe to see us through our actions. Right now, we've got COVID-19, which has devastated the whole nation. And as MDC-T, we are saying we want to be a responsible leadership, a leadership which is going to make sure that we work together as a nation so that we fight this scourge called coronavirus. And that's why we called our members of parliament to make sure that they attend parliament so that we are able to deal with all the issues to do with coronavirus. People want food out there. People want a better life. And this can only happen when people sit around a table, when members of parliament go to parliament to raise those particular issues. But I would like to say to every Zimbabwean, to say as the official opposition, we are here to serve you. We are here to work for you. We will make sure that we do everything in our power. And we have returned back to our values, to our founding values and principles of the MDC. And we are going to make sure that whatever we do it based on our founding values, on our founding principles as a movement. So this is the leadership that is here. And we called you so that you know that we are here at the Morgan Richard Tsvangirai house today. We are now working from the Morgan Richard Tsvangirai house. And this is the leadership which is going to be making sure that we take this country forward, we build our nation so that every Zimbabwean has a better life. I will hand over to the Secretary General so that he takes you through on the issues that we discuss as a standing committee. Over to you, Secretary General.
Thank you very much, Madam President, and members of the National Standing Committee. I would like to start with the co-optations that happened today to the leadership. As you know, some of the leaders left the party to form their own political party. So in terms of the constitution, certain positions have to be approved by the National Council, certain positions have to be appointed where there is a gap, and the following have been appointed into the National Standing Committee in terms of clause 9 of our constitution. Engineer Elias Mzuri, Senator Mzuri, is the Deputy National Chairperson. Honorable Chimanikire, Chief Chimanikire, the Deputy National Organizing Secretary. As you know, Honorable Abednego Bebe is here as the National Chairperson. Deputy Treasury, National Organizing Secretary. Deputy Treasurer General, again, that position is vacant, and it is now being occupied by Chief Njovu. Chief Njovu was the provincial chairperson for the South African province for the 2014 structures. The Deputy National Spokesperson, Honorable Kalipani is now the spokesperson. And the chairperson for the Youth Assembly, as you know, Mr. Siwa is a public statement and he is no longer so he's as the chairperson of the National Youth Assembly. It is a good surprise that the document that can participate this struggle. There is a position that I will announce later regarding the women once we have resolved that. Some of the resolutions that we dealt with today, number one, dealt with Harvest House. Whose property is it? We saw in the court some people claiming that the Harvest House belonged to them. We reiterate that the Harvest House belongs to the Movement for Democratic Change as a party. And we will do everything that is in our power to safeguard our property. So there are matters that are before the courts, but we want to make it clear that the Harvest House or Morgan Tsvangirai House is not a private property owned by a company. it is owned by, it is a property that is owned by the party. And we will be able to prove that when the time comes in the court of law. We also resolve that we are going to fulfill the Supreme Court judgment. And the Supreme Court was very kind to us in dealing with the document that is now called the Constitution, settled the document as the Constitution of the Movement for Democratic Change. That's number one. Number two, nullification of the Supreme Court of the presidency of Nelson Chamisa and everything that he did in his capacity as president. That includes signing agreements with other people. All that is nullified. We also discussed the issue of the recalls of councillors, as well as members of parliament who have joined other political parties. We are going to proceed with this, but we will deal with this on a case-by-case basis. And as we have said and maintained before, we are not a vindictive leadership. We are not there simply to cause misery to people. We are there to safeguard the interests of the members of the MDC. So those who have joined other political parties cannot continue to represent our members in parliament. We want to reiterate here that the Supreme Court, the High Court, ruled that we can continue with our recalls. In other words, the interdict that sought to stop us from recalling was dismissed by Justice Chitapi. They've appealed against it, but they are appealing against nothing because they did not get the order in the first place. Then the other judgment by Justice Mafusire to say that we cannot replace members of parliament even after they expire, even as we face the expiring of the mandatory 90 days. We have appealed against that judgment. The effect of the appeal is to suspend the decision appealed against. And therefore, as things stand, nothing stops us from recalling our members of parliament and replacing our members of parliament. And we will exercise, if need be, we will exercise that lawful option. We received a report on the handover, takeover of Morgan Tsvangirai House. And this has been a subject of a lot of propaganda, which has unfortunately sucked in some of the countries in this world because of the images that were broadcast by our colleagues. But this is what took place. The Harvest House on the 4th of June 2020 and at 5 o'clock experienced a handover takeover, which involved security guards at this building. So 3 people came in, new security guards came in to relieve the 2 who were on duty. So they signed the handover, takeover in a book that we call the occurrence book. This is the book that is at the reception where we record the handover, takeover. It was smooth and it was without incident. And we reiterate that Advocate Nelson Chamisa was informed of that occurrence. That is why in my statement of that day, I referred to him. I referred to the letter that had been written by the acting president to him and specifically referred to him. In all the court papers, he did not file any papers to dispute that. So there was a smooth handover, takeover. Then after about 3 hours, I issued the statement. And after 3 hours after the statement, around 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, a Charlton Wende and the Jennifer the Guards Wore and the 45 thugs came to this building and tried to enter the building via the back door. They broke the door at the back, and the police who were on patrol intervened and called for reinforcement. We view it as malicious to suggest that the takeover of this building involved the army and the police. The army has been patrolling the streets of Harare since the declaration of the lockdown. And I want you, ladies and gentlemen, to take judicial notice of the fact that 60 meters from where we are, towards Parliament, you will see offices of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces. So the army does have its offices in this street, about 60 meters from where we are. And of course, when the noise was generated, they were naturally attracted by that, but they specifically refused to intervene in the dispute. And this was confirmed by the employees of Harvest House who took us to court. Washington Gaga, Shawamwe Shambari, Kudakwashe Matibiri, Edith Minyaka, and others. They took us to court, and they specifically said that the police refused to intervene in the takeover of Harvest House. That is in their affidavit. They also said the army refused to intervene. And these are the affidavits that are before the courts of law. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be announcing, following the resignation of Honorable Obed Gutu, we will be announcing our spokesperson in due course after the consultations have taken place. We also discussed the petition that came from certain members of the National Council who wanted us to hold an emergency National Council. And our attitude is that we will hold the National Council once the circumstances permit gatherings involving these big numbers, because the National Council is 202 people. So we will hold the meeting of the National Council. The President will instruct us regarding the dates once we have received information about the gatherings. So we are going to have that meeting. We are not in a hurry to have that meeting because we had a meeting of the National National Council virtually on the 9th of May. And this meeting had made far-reaching decisions. But should members of the party want their leaders to conduct another meeting, we are open. We want to have this meeting, and we will announce the date in due course. Ladies and gentlemen, as the Movement for Democratic Change, as our president said, we are now going to be embarking on the reform agenda. As you remember, the party had been on the reform trajectory with the formation of the National Election Reform Agenda under President Changirai, the demonstrations that we held for electoral reforms. This had been packed in the issue of electoral reforms, social reforms, economic reforms, political reforms, had all been shelved. We are now going to embark on the reform process, on the reform agenda, and we are going to be discussing with other political parties. In the standing committee, the president gave a report of the meeting that we had with the alliance partners. As you know, some time ago, I think 2 weeks ago, we had a meeting of 5 out of the 7 alliance partners. And this meeting was to discuss the future of the alliance. We did not conclude on this discussion, and we were supposed to carry the discussion on the 18th of June. Again, we couldn't because of certain logistical reasons. But we are committed to working with others. We are committed to creating synergies. The president and other senior leaders will be meeting leaders of civic society to brief them on what is happening within the party, to brief them on how we are bringing the party back to the rails. As you know, the party had been derailed and so on. So we want to bring back a leadership and a new politics that is based on rational disputation, and a new politics that abhors violence, use of hate language, and so on. A new politics that looks at the lives of the poor Zimbabwean people, that looks at the lives of the disadvantaged advantaged masses of Zimbabwe. And the leadership said in the meeting that we are going to go back to the founding objectives of the MDC. And the founding objective is one, and it was to fulfill the unfinished business of the liberation struggle. And this is what this leadership has committed itself to be doing. And I have to let you into various things that the leadership said, and so on. The need for tolerance, an apology that was given by my young brother Shakespeare to the president, and that was quite touching. And we are very grateful at the level of maturity displayed by Shakespeare in that regard. And please, we want everybody to join us in thanking him for what he has done. And I've been talking to him. He is very focused on the objective of this struggle, and you will be seeing more and more of him as he leads his youth assembly in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to end here regarding the resolutions that we had today, and we would want to invite questions. Sorry, you can take off.
Sorry. Okay, we came out here just to attend to you because we've been waiting for some time. We had to finish our meeting. So I'm going to take one or two rounds quickly so that we can to call off your question. If the question has been asked, please don't ask it again. Just appreciate that we are constrained time. So I'm going to start right there. That's number one. I'm going to come to you. I want to count the business. So that's number one, number two, number three. Oh, that's lovely. So you guys are agreeing with that. Number four, right? Okay. Yeah, let's go.
My name is Elian Charlie from 260 Church. My question is with regards to the Poland. Did anything pop up on the issue of joining Poland? What's the status?
Okay, it's not. I'll take the questions and then the leadership will come again. Number two.
Yes. My name is Antonio. I'm with Check Backgrounds TV. I need to present this question that comes to the whole leadership group. We'll be able to answer this question. Maybe to you, I need to understand. There is a general perception that the new MDC-T is a club of members who lost the last election and are trying to find themselves back into politics by coming together using a network. How do you respond to that? And maybe can ask this.
It's not as maybe the second one.
Okay, maybe the second question is what's your take on the last Congress that was done? Because it looks like some of you were there and you actually did lose that last Congress, and now you are coming back. You have a certain different party. Do you check that as a legit Congress before the constitutional announcement was done? Was that not a consultative process that was done within your voters and the people? And how do you check that? And
number three.
I want to find out after maybe 18 domestic elections that your party will be guys. I want to find out that it's for me now two parties. One MDC-T with a PMP. Then MDC-T with a how do you
Number four.
Yes, my name is David Kama from Arkansas TV and Radio. Honorable was already said that the police were dealing with COVID-19 related issue. Are the police who are parked outside in that truck also dealing with COVID-19 issues? Because we have seen them seem to take over station, the new police station. Just wanted clarity on that. In my second last question is that what is going to be an engagement level with the Zanu, because we have seen that you have warmed up already to Poland, Madam President, warming up to Zanu. Is this still the same status or same engagement, or you are going to be facing Zanu from seeking accountability. Where, for instance, there are serious allegations of corruption. We have not had to speak about that one minister. So I want to understand the relationship this far with Zambia going forward.
Okay. Thank you. And then we'll come for the second round. Over to Madam President.
Thank you very much. Let me just say, let me just let me answer on the question of Poland. We did not discuss that issue today. We discuss other issues. That issue is going to come, and we will advise you once we have discussed about it. The police parked there enforcing COVID. Now, I want you to understand that they've been parked there before the takeover. So you cannot say that they parked it because of the takeover. They have been parked in the streets for a long period before the takeover, and you must take judicial notice of that. But after the takeover, the peaceful takeover, and the violence that when they tried to initiate, we obtained a peace order. And this peace order was obtained in the magistrate court, and it precluded certain members from coming to Age's house and causing a breach of peace. It also specifically advised the police to maintain law and order and to make sure that the order is enforced. But the police that you see are not parked in Age's house. The police you see are parked outside FBC. Just take judicial notice on that. And you have to take judicial notice again that the army has its offices 60 meters from here. And I did ask my colleagues to measure that because I was anticipating your question. And that is 35 to 40 meters away from this building. We cannot control that. That has nothing to do with us. As far as we can see, they have not disturbed anybody. The engagement levels with ZANU-PF. We are an opposition party, but you will find that we are an opposition party that is going to engage with the ZANU-PF in the manner that Morgan Changray's leadership engaged with ZANU-PF. And the engagement with the ZANU-PF was multifaceted, multi-pronged. So we are an opposition party. We are going to hold the government to account. We see that some of the members of the press ignored a very beautiful fight that was waged by our MPs in Parliament, and that dealt with the abduction of the girls. It was done, that debate was done by Honorable Tekeshe, Honorable Makonya, Honorable Vincent Changrai, who had been the first MPs to heed our calls to come to Parliament. And I also debated on that. So yes, we are going to engage ZANU-PF in Parliament. We are going to engage ZANU-PF in the political life. But we are going to be advancing the interests of the Zimbabwean people, the real objective why we were formed. We know that there's been a lot of propaganda. You have my young brother Rohanya, who has forgotten that he's a journalist in the first place. Getting into propaganda. This is how he describes us. But what we really are, we are a leadership that is democratic. We are a leadership that is pro-reform. We are a leadership that is pro-change. We are a leadership that is not unnecessarily talkative. We are a leadership that plans. And you will see the leadership here. This is a serious leadership. And if I can just abuse this opportunity, Engineer Mzuri was the organizing secretary in 2008. And in 2008, we won both the presidency and the parliament and local government. And his deputy was Honorable Morgan Komich. They were the people who were in the organizing department who planned ZANU-PF downfall. The deputy president to Tsvangirai was Madame KHUPE-LED. And when Morgan Tsvangirai was forced into exile, she remained the acting president in this country at that period in time. And various of these leaders were doing one work or another. So we had an experienced leadership, a mature leadership, and so on. My friend from the lovely TV, thank you very much for that question, which deals with people lost in Gweru. And I've heard people continuing saying that, Mr. Monzora, you lost in Gweru. The same people don't say that Mr. Chamisa lost it to me in Harare in 2014. So when you trace the history of defeat in elections, don't be selective. I also beat him. I also won at one point in time. That's not an important point. But what is the important point? The important point is that before we went to Gweru, the matter of Mashawire was heard in the High Court before Justice Mushore in March. In the standing committee, I then urged my colleagues to stop the Congress in Gweru. I was overruled. And democracy is the dictatorship of the majority. But I gave my legal advice. It was not listened to. On the 8th, I think, of May, Justice Mushore delivered a judgment which had far-reaching consequences on the leadership. I made two suggestions. The first suggestion was that we cancel the Congress altogether. The second suggestion was that we convert the Gweru Congress into an extraordinary Congress. And in that regard, we had to change the Electoral College. Again, we were in the minority. And yes, I did contest in Gweru, well knowing that this was a waste of time. And I did tell my colleagues that it was a waste of time. History has absolved me. We are not here because of a loss in an election, in a Congress that was nullified. We are here because the Supreme Court of Zimbabwe has ruled in favor of one of us. And that one of us is Elias Masharira, who was our organizing secretary for Gokwe district. He was proven right by the courts. Because we are not an arrogant leadership, we are going to listen to people who have won in the court cases. We are not condescending towards him. So we are going to do the correct thing. We want constitutionalism. We want people to respect the rule of law. And this is what binds us. And this is what we want to do. And if you trace our history, each one of us here, you will find that it is a history which deals with constitutionalism, human rights, and the rule of law. And this is the passion that we are simply following.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
First of all, I would like to say that the MDC is an organization which has a constitution. This constitution was written by us. And it was adopted first in 2000 at our first Congress in Tutungi. Then it was adopted again in 2006 at the National Sports Stadium. And then it was adopted again in 2011 in Baba Hills and in 2014 at the National Sports Stadium. This constitution tells us what to do and not what to do. And what the Supreme Court simply did was that it said go back and do what was supposed to be done after the demise of our late president, Dr. Morgan Richard Tsvangirai. Article 9.21.1 clearly states that after the death of the president, the deputy president assumes the position of acting president for a period not exceeding 12 months and then calls for an extraordinary Congress. Unfortunately, this was not done. So what the Supreme Court simply did was that it said, what happened in Bulawayo at the Stainless Square in April, and what happened in Gweru in May, was it 2019, is null and void. So both groups must go back and do what the Constitution says they must do. And this is what the people did. So I have been reinstated as the acting president of MDC-T. MDC-T has got 103 MPs in parliament, meaning that I am currently the leader of that political party, which has 103 MPs in that parliament. It has happened in other countries. I would like to give an example of South Africa. Musi Maimane was the leader of DA, and currently he is no longer the leader of DA. There is a new leader in that parliament who is now the leader of those MPs who are there right now. And currently I am the leader of MDC-T with the 103 MPs. So the issue of 2 MPs or whatever MPs does not arise, because we are doing exactly what the Supreme Court has asked us to do. And already we are preparing for the extraordinary Congress. We are busy right now and want to make sure that it becomes a success, where we are going to fill the position left by our leader, Dr. Mokundisha Samson.
Okay. I'm not sure. I'm not sure follow-up. Who answers the follow-up? I'm not sure follow-up. Please, it must be follow-ups, not new questions, so that we can go the second round. Is it a follow-up? No? Okay. Let me just do follow-ups and then we'll check the questions. Yes, I'll start with you.
Who were elected in the past that was moved now in court.
Okay.
What happened? Yes.
All right, no problem. Your follow-up?
Yes. Madam President, not that you follow the Constitution, but the court said that what you did in Stainless Square was not following the Constitution. So you must be fired from the party for joining another political party. It is stated in your Constitution that anyone who supports any political party other than this one should be fired. So you should not be sitting there as president.
Okay. All right. Madam President, yes.
The 2 MPs, like I said earlier on, the Supreme Court said we must all go back to the 14th of February after 2018. And it is clear those MPs are now part of the 103 MPs who are MPs who belong to the MDC-T. I did not, you are saying I'm supposed to be fired because I joined another political party, or formed another political party. The party that I led is MDC Twangirai. That is the party which contested. And we were very clear to say our colleagues have deviated from the founding values and principles of MDC-T, that of non-violence, that of non-discrimination, that of not following the Constitution. And we remained respecting the Constitution. We remained, along those founding values and principles of the MDC-T. We are very clear from the onset. But however, the Supreme Court said, Stainless Square and go back and do what was supposed to be done, where I was supposed to be given an opportunity to act as acting president, and then call for an extraordinary Congress. And this is what I'm working on. I am definitely going to call for an extraordinary Congress, which is going to elect a new leader. And this is who we are right now. I did not violate any constitution. I tried by whatever means possible to follow what was in the Constitution. However, the Supreme Court said we must go back and then do what the Constitution tells us to do.
Steve, would you like to? It's okay. All right. I'm sure you said. No, it's fine. You may not be happy with the answer, but it is the answer. That no, it's fine. Wait, hear me out. Hear me out.
That do not belong to the MDC.
That was
It's okay, here we
Now,
have.
now.
No.
Let me answer that. If I may answer that, the Supreme Court realized two things. That after the demise of Dr. Tsvangirai, the party split into two factions. The one faction was the faction that held the Congress at Stanley Square. By the way, the Congress at Stanley Square was called an extraordinary Congress. It was not an inaugural Congress to form a party. And then it recognized another faction led by Advocate Chamisa that remained part of the MDC alliance. The attitude of the course was that these were factions of one party. These were tributaries of one river. And therefore, the Supreme Court then said, return to the status quo ante as at the day after Tsvangirai died, but before the National Council. That meant that the two factions were now being brought into one party. So it is now one party. So these MPs are MPs which belong to one party now. And they belong to the group which had more members of parliament. They are now one. That is why this party is now being led by the one president who is presiding not over a faction, but over a united party with all its assets, including Harvest House, all the offices across the country, and the MPs and the councillors. So that is the legal position that as it stands. But let me take you back to history. In May 2018, I think, Advocate Chamisa presided over a discussion to recall Madam KHUPE from Parliament. And I'm sure you remember that she was recalled from Parliament by Advocate Chamisa. Now, how do you recall somebody who is not a member of your party? You can only recall somebody who is a member of your party. So this has been one party, and they even went to court to stop her from using the name. And Justice Tere ruled that because it was a faction, it cannot bar another faction from using the assets of the party, including its name and its constitution. They have always been using this constitution, identical word for word. So the proper way of looking at it is that the Supreme Court reunified the party and is now one entity, which was led by Morgan Tsvangirai.
Right, thank you. Let me take the last round. I'll prioritize those that did not ask the first question. You did ask, right?
No, I didn't ask.
That's number one. Number two. Number three. Number four. So there's something about this number four. What's happening? You're just asking questions. Fours. Okay. You can show.
Well, my name is Costa from newszimbabwe.com. You directed to Dr. KHUPE. You polled 45,000 votes in the previous elections. That must be a very worrisome figure for someone who aspired to gain state power. What makes you so much convinced that this time around you gain political capital so that you can attract a huge following?
Okay. Number two.
My name is Asmane, so just from Flymaker. It follows that maybe the MPs, because of the Supreme Court judgment and the powers that are vested in the Constitution, they have the ability to hold back those. They have the same ability to hold back those. That's my question.
Okay. Number three.
Yes, well, Tony again from Checkmate TV. I'll direct the question to Madam KHUPE. Madam KHUPE, if you can clarify with us, in the interest of understanding history, we do know that by the time you had left the party, you were not in good standing with Morgan Tsvangirai, that you now are coming out to represent fully, or that you had actually left way before Nelson Chamisa was even the president of the party. What was your relationship like with Morgan Tsvangirai, and how do you feel representing the MDC-T, which gained where you gained 45,000 and he got 2.6 million or 2.1 million debatable? How does that make you feel to then say that you represent all these 110 MPs when these people are definitely denied you during the forms? How does that make you feel to say you leave it now?
Number 4? No, number 4.
My name is anyway Yota. I'm a finance analyst. The question that you are referring to the list and the Supreme Court judges. How about the electorates? Like you take into the court or the dictionaries there?
Okay, thank you. So, did you ask your question?
Just one last one.
Sorry?
Are you going to give another round?
Yeah, we'll come for more parts. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
After this play.
Yes, yeah, that's the last one. Okay, give the last part for just shoot it.
Well, there's a video that circulates on social media where you visited Morgan Shangraisi tombstone a couple of weeks ago. There have been reports and allegations that you were there for rituals. Would you like to take this opportunity to clarify what exactly was going on there?
Okay. All right, Madam President, SG.
Thank you very much. I want to start with one unscientific question that is being asked. And this unscientific question is what happens to the supporters? That Nelson Chamisa has more supporters than everyone. Now, and you go to the 2.1 million, 2.6 million debatable. Now, can I answer this by a rhetorical question? And the rhetorical question is that, did the MDC-T in the alliance not campaign as a unit? In other words, did we, Wabuzuri, Wakomichi, myself, not campaign in that election for that 2.6 million votes? And how much of that do you give to us? How much do you attribute to us?
So you
why do you say we contributed zero? I went and contested in Manikaret. That is the zone that I was given to contest to campaign. Sorry, to campaign for the president and the MPs. And in Manikaret, Nelson Chamisa polled 296,000 votes. To Mnangagwa was 292,000 votes. A difference of 4,000 votes. MDC Alliance won the presidency in Manikalet. How much of that do you attribute to my efforts and the efforts of the other comrades? Now, when we deal with political parties, we are not dealing with individuals. We are dealing with the institution. Now, the institution. So they are institutional votes. But again, another unscientific part of your assumption is that you have carried the census and you have found us with no support. Wait, because we have a surprise for you. We do have the support. And you will see when we conduct our Congress that we do have the support. Now, you were told by Watchman Nobel, who, by the way, polled something sometime. Okay? You were told by Watchman Nobel that we would form a quorum at the Congress. And surprise, surprise, we have surpassed that by people who have confirmed to want to come to the Congress. And again, we were told that we will never be to Harvest House. We will never take this building. And where are we? We were told that we will not win a single case. Where are we? We were told that we will not be able to recall. Where are we? Why do you underestimate us, my brother? Remember, this is the leadership that ended ZANU-PF its first uncontested defeat. Not just ZANU-PF, ZANU-PF of Mugabe. Now, I just want to, I know the president will answer it herself, but I just want to go to the unscientific part about what was stated about what happened in Buera. About 5 minutes after we left the homestead, Pet Sairuanya tweeted that people were chanting Chamisa's name at Chagres gravesite, and that a video was coming to prove his allegations. Up to now, I'm waiting for that video. Up to now, you have not seen that video where his name is being chanted. So these are some of the falsehoods that are said. A simple graveside eulogy, common in African tradition, is converted into a ritual. How do people do rituals in the broad daylight, in the presence of the deceased's relatives, his young brothers, his mother, his nephews, and his seguros? They were there. This is how low our politics has gone. Who hasn't visited the grave? Who hasn't spoken at the grave? Who is it who hasn't done that? So I know the president is going to answer that, but Zimbabwe has more important things to think about. The opposition has more to think about than superstition. Our people are living in poverty and misery, and we need to take them away from this poverty and misery. And we do not do that by this petty thinking, in my respectful view. Thank you.
Okay, I think he has responded to the issue of Buera, and he has also responded to the issue of 45,000 votes. And what I can only say is that each and every election has its own dynamics. Come 2023, watch the space. Then my relationship with the president, I had a very good working relationship with my president. I have deputized him for 12 years. I worked with him for 26 years. Yes, of course, there was a problem. That one problem when we attacked in Bulawayo. And the president sat exactly where I am sitting right now. And he apologized about what happened in Bulawayo. Myself and Abednego Bebe went to the president's house and we met him. And the president apologized. 2 weeks before the president passed on, I went to South Africa. I visited the president in hospital. He was very excited to see me. We chatted, we spoke. The president, for your own information, for those who do not know, phoned me 2 days before he passed on, for those who do not know. I was phoned 2 days before the president passed on. It was very difficult for him to speak, but those were his last words. You know, he couldn't speak, and I kept on saying, president will be fine, because I've gone through the same problem. I had cancer as well, and I thought that my president was going to be well. Little did I know that the situation had gotten worse. May his soul rest in peace. But in a nutshell, I had a good working relationship with the president. And to sum it all, our role as the opposition is to make sure that every Zimbabwean has a better life. We want to make sure that Zimbabweans have jobs, they have food, they have good health, good education, clean water and sanitation. This is what these people sitting in front here are going to be fighting for. And we'll make sure that at the end of the day, the people of Zimbabwe have a better life.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen, it's okay. We'll do it next time around. There's another standing committee next week. I'll note your question.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. That was the end of the press conference. See you later, okay? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. See you later. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you so much. All right. I'm just hoping kuti vanhu vakafasta. People are fasting. Indatodyika kechi-3. Anyway, see you guys. Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to end the broadcast right now. Thank you so much. See you later. See you in my next video. Bye bye. Bye bye, everyone. Bye. Thank you for joining me. Bye bye, guys. All right, bye.